Hi, my name's Ben, and today I'm going to show you how to make kombucha, starting with making the sweet tea. Now, the first thing we need is just something to boil the water. You can use anything, a kettle or just a pot. I've used the pot here, and we have some hot water. The second thing we need is tea leaves, and I have some tea leaves right here. Now, as far as the tea goes, you can use different types of tea. A lot of people use black tea. You can use green tea, as I've done. You can use white tea. You can use oolong tea. There's many different teas you can use. The standard variety for kombucha is black tea. If you're on a budget, you can also use Lipton tea bags. And if you're going to use tea bags, you want to use about 8 tea bags per 1 gallon of tea. In this case here, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of green tea instead. Now, the third thing we need is sugar. Like the teas, you have different choices. The standard variety of sugar that most people will use is processed white sugar. Now, there's a big thing people have against white sugar because it's processed, but that's simply fuel that the kombucha mushroom is going to use to produce all the good things that we like about kombucha. So there's nothing wrong with processed white sugar for the kombucha mushroom. In fact, I recommend white sugar because it's cheap and it's the most refined sugar you can get, which means it's very easy for the kombucha to break it down. So white sugar is an option. Another option you can use is raw sugar, which is basically evaporated sugarcane juice. Here I've used sugarcane, also called sugarcane. Now keep in mind, this might look like it's brown sugar, but it's not brown sugar. There's a big difference between brown sugar and raw sugar. If you use brown sugar, you often end up with a very sour kombucha. I don't recommend it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the tea. I simply take my tea leaves, and I need to put them in some sort of strainer to produce the tea. You can use a steel ball. You can use anything really to make the tea. I'm going to use a cheesecloth, which works great. I'm simply going to put the cheesecloth down here. I'm going to dump the 2.5 tablespoons of tea in the center, like so. I'm just going to fold it up like this. I'm just going to wrap the edges around. You can use anything you want to do the tea as long as you can get the tea leaves back out. Or if you're using tea bags, then you don't have to do this, but I am not, so I will be using the cheesecloth. Just use a cheesecloth. I recommend you just twist the ends like this so it doesn't come undone, and then you just tie it. There we go, my cheesecloth full of tea leaves. Just drop it in the boiled water. I like to give it a little shake and I just leave it. We're going to leave this tea leaves in here for about 10 minutes to let it steep, and we'll come back then and we'll add the sugar. For the sugar, you want to use 1 cup of sugar per 1 gallon of sweet tea. You need 2 tablespoons of tea per 1 gallon of sweet tea that you're going to make. Or if you're going to use tea bags instead of tea leaves, use 8 tea bags for 1 gallon of sweet tea. So this is 1 cup of sugar. Now I'm going to dump it into my steeping tea, like so. I'll just take something, a wooden utensil of sorts, or spoon, whatever. Just mix it around. And you can see I've got my tea bag, well, my homemade tea bag of green tea leaves. I'm just going to let this steep for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you can try the tea. If it doesn't have that real tea flavor, like it tastes too watery, simply add some more tea leaves. You just want the tea to be somewhat strong, but not too watery. And that's how you make sweet tea.